Okay, good evening, everybody. It's Sunday night. We're now streaming live on our weekly town hall meeting. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late this evening. It looks like we're just getting started, and I don't know that we have any participants coming in just yet. This is our third town hall meeting for Procurement Foundry. We've held one for each of the last 3 weeks. We've opened up the floor to questions to Procurement Foundry members as well as to followers of Procurement Foundry. And we're going to jump right in and start talking about different things that we have going on this week inside of Procurement Foundry. I'm just going to let a couple of people jump in here. Um, so bear with me as I usually have technical issues on these things. We're streaming, I believe we're streaming to the Procurement Foundry page or to my own personal page. I'm not sure which one. I'm going to take a quick look and see. Refresh this. LinkedIn. And we're going to see what we have on the page here. All right, so I don't see anyone logged in as of yet. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, everybody. So we've got about a dozen people in here so far. First things first, so just to recap, this is the weekly town hall meeting for Procurement Foundry. Everyone who, yes, we can chat later, Mark, thank you. This is a weekly town hall update meeting for everyone associated with Procurement Foundry, as well as any followers of Procurement Foundry, just to talk about different activities that have taken place throughout the week. Just a recap of what is going on. So if you have questions or comments and you'd like to ask me questions or comments, feel free to do so. I'm happy to answer any questions you may all have. So let's quickly jump into just a recap of the week and see. It's on my personal account. Yeah, thank you, Bart. Really appreciate that. Uh, David Burney, what's the Zoom link? I will put the Zoom link out on the next one, David. My apologies. I didn't get to that this week, so I will put a Zoom link out for the next town hall meeting that we're going to do. So anyway, let's talk about Procurement Foundry this week. We had a huge week. Happy to answer anybody's comments or questions. So first things first, we grew by approximately 200 new members this week. We had about about an 8% growth. We had about 2,200 members. We now have about 2,400 members active, and we have about another 400 or 500 members that have yet to jump in and accept their approvals. So we're closing in very quickly on approximately 1,000 members inside of the Procurement Foundry right now. We've also added a new regional chapter this week. So we had someone from Wisconsin join us, and Tina and that team have kicked off. Tina has kicked off that regional chapter with the Wisconsin folks. Bunch of cheeseheads. Glad to have you. And we're going to be doing virtual chapter meetings inside of the Foundry for the foreseeable future, but we'll go back out to physical chapter meet and greets as soon as this all clears up. Thank you for the comment on the hat. Not loud enough. Okay. Let me see what I can do to turn up the volume a little bit. I can't talk much louder than I'm talking right now. Is the volume on your machine potentially low? No, wait a minute. Maybe I can turn this thing up a little bit. Is that a little bit better from a sound perspective? Not loud enough. All right. hold on. Let me see if I can take a look at this and see if I can turn up my sound. Okay. Well, I hope that the sound's getting better. A couple of things as far as events go. Can't hear you. Can hear you perfectly. Okay. Thanks, Bart. So a couple of things associated with events surrounding Procurement Foundry this week. So the Forge event, um, you're welcome, Bob. The Forge event is in full bloom. We announced Forge as our online interactive event conferencing platform 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago yet. And then we quickly announced the fact that we kicked off our first Forge event, which is a procurement virtual one-day summit conference event. And we are doing that on April 28th. For those of you who don't know about it yet, you have to be a Procurement Foundry member to be a member of that and to join that. And you can join as long as you're a practitioner in procurement. You can join Procurement Foundry for free. We will in turn send you a ticket invite so that you can get a free ticket to the show. And it's a one-day event, like I said. We've got about 28 scheduled events right now. We've got about a dozen sponsors that are finishing up their sponsorship information. And yeah, Sunday streaming, Mark Mafford. That's right. We're 7 days a week right now, buddy. So Forge is going strong. We expect it will probably be at 400 or 500 members by the end of this week. We suspect it will be at 500 to 750 attendees for Forge by the time we're all said and done on this. And we're working on more Forge events. We're planning more Forge events now. So that's Forge. We also this week announced inside of the Procurement Foundry a day early, because we always announce our stuff early inside of the Procurement Foundry so the members can gain access to it. That we've created a topics in technology panel discussion series. What the heck is that? So it is an entire series of panel discussions with subject matter experts from within the Procurement Foundry. For those of you who don't know already, we already have approximately 600 IT sourcing professionals inside of Procurement Foundry. They all collaborate and speak inside of one room, which is pretty interesting, answering the question of what happens when you put 600 IT purchasing people together. It gets crazy. So we are doing a panel discussion. We're pulling subject matter experts out of that room, some of the largest IT buyers in the world. And we have created an entire 9-panel series, one every month for the remainder of the year. Our first panel will be taking place. The first panel will be taking place in April. I believe it's April 8th. I'm just going to double check right now while I have you all. Hold on 1 second. And sorry. When is the first topics and technology panel discussion events? IT panel. Okay, here we go. Just bear with me 1 second while I bring it all up. I should know all of these things. I'm very sorry. So yeah, our panel series is going to be hosted by Matt Anders. Matt is on our steering committee member. He'll be our host for all of the panel discussions, or at least most of them, I hope. And our first panel discussion will be on April 8th at 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. The topic is IT spend in hypergrowth, covering spend when everything becomes a technology purchasing engagement. Thank you, Tina, for saying April 8th. We've got an amazing panel for that, and we're really excited about that. We are talking to some sponsors for that as well. If you're in the technology arena and you are interested in sponsoring our topics and technology series or an individual panel, by all means, give us a call on that. But so that ties up the event. So we've got Forge that's growing very nicely towards April 28th. In the Forge arena, just so that you all know, we've also added in a couple of topics have been solidified. So we this week decided on Mark Raffin and Mark Holyoke. They will be speaking on brand development, the importance of building a personal brand, and how to build a personal brand in this day and age. And we're also announcing that the panel discussion that took place earlier this week, tracking the chief procurement officers, Sopan from IHG, Greg from VSP, and Randy Miller from Zendesk. We're going to open up a second panel discussion with them. I've talked about this already, but we're going to open up a second panel with them kind of as a follow-up 30 days after the initial discussion inside of Procurement Foundry so that we can track their progress through the coronavirus activities that's taking place. So slow. Am I talking slow today, Mark? I'm sorry. Next thing I wanted to talk about is just some basic housekeeping inside of the Procurement Foundry. So this week we added a bunch of channels and we expanded, excuse me, we expanded some channels as well. I have to cleanse. So we modified, oh, that's true. I'm sorry. Tina, you're absolutely right. We do also have an event taking place on April 13th, an AMA event, unscripted 45-minute session with Caitlin Michaelis from Unum. Caitlin was recently, last year, I believe, voted one of the 30 under 30 to watch in the procurement industry. We're very interested in talking to her and getting her thoughts on procurement as an industry as a millennial and what her thoughts are, how she's attacking the industry, what she's seeing from her perspective, what she's using to grow and learn. So we're really excited about that. And then on April 15th, we're also hosting an event with Leanne Sampson from CSI. For those of you who don't know who CSI is, they're also a sponsor of Procurement Foundry. Leanne will be speaking about the benefits of integrated payables and automated vendor payment solutions. So be sure to catch that. If you haven't deployed an integrated payables solution yet, you're going to want to catch that. So back to what we've done inside of the Foundry this week. We modified the job boards this week due to a request from some of the membership. We have expanded the job board and the board for the job board and the candidate board. I'm sorry, geez. The candidate board and the job boards, they were general candidate and job boards. Now those boards have both been fixed so that we have a European job board as well as a North American US job board as well. As the expansion grows, we'll continue to expand this out. We'll probably put in a South American, Middle Eastern, Asia Pac boards as well for job boards as the membership grows inside of those regions. So if you are a candidate and you have jobs, thank you, Larry. Candidates is the word I was looking for, exactly. If you're a candidate or you have job postings, now you can put them in regions. And then finally, probably the biggest thing we did this week, and we announced it, and we've had a couple of live sessions on this already, is that we expanded our coronavirus boards. We had one coronavirus board working. We have expanded that to 2 coronavirus boards, and we've invited everybody from supply chain management that we could find in. So now there's 2 topics, 2 topic boards inside of coronavirus. One is topics_coronavirus procurement, and one of them is topics_coronavirus supply chain management. The procurement one obviously is kind of slanted towards procurement, indirect and procurement folks who need to buy things and are looking for suppliers and or supplies inside of the supply chain. The supply chain management coronavirus board is really meant for the actual operators of the supply chain. So if you're in warehousing, or if you're in a 3PL, or if you're in trafficking, or if you're in logistics, sourcing overseas, any of those topics, that board is for you. And by all means, feel free to monitor both of those boards because I think there's some crisscross over there on those. But that's really kind of what we've gotten through this week in Procurement Foundry. I'll open it up to questions before I cut off here for 6:30. So does anyone who's out there have any questions right now that I can potentially answer for you at this time? And cue up the Jeopardy music. There's a little bit of a lag in the LinkedIn Live. We've got about 20 or 30 people on LinkedIn Live actually, which is impressive for a Sunday night at 6 o'clock. And I think as we continue to do these, they'll get bigger and bigger. Doesn't look like anyone has any real questions this evening. So I think we'll let that ride. I think that'll probably be enough information for this week. And if anyone wants to talk, one thing that did come up yesterday was around a board for the coronavirus topic associated with sharing and swapping and potentially bartering goods and services. I'd be interested to know what people's thoughts are on that and if they would find value in that. We're doing quite a bit of that right now. And I'm seeing that probably in direct messaging as well as in just some communications that are taking place between members. One other thing, I'm sorry. We actually have a hashtag now on Peloton, which I didn't know. So if you're a Procurement Foundry member and you are in and you use Peloton as a service, either for running or for cycling or for yoga, you can hit the Procurement Foundry hashtag and find other folks that are inside of the Procurement Foundry followers of that hashtag, and you can team up with them and ride your bike with them, which I thought was really cool. Trade. Alex says that trade would be good. So I think we should open up a trade channel, and we'll definitely work on that this week, early this week, get that activated so that people who do have either, I know there's some effort so far to try and maybe consolidate purchasing power. I know that there's some folks that are trying to talk to some of the hotel organizations about inventory that's sitting out there that might be able to be acquired for use. I think that we can open up a board that can do that as well. So happy to do that. Really excited about it. I think that's it for right now, unless anyone else anything else to say. One thing I will say is the Procurement Foundry right now is extremely heavy. I'm going to say 75 to 80% in the supply chain space. I'm sorry, in the indirect procurement space. I know that a lot of you have supply chain management folks that you have inside of your buildings or in other locations, and indirect people don't tend to talk to supply chain management people. By all means, feel free to reach out to them and tell them that this is available to them. We are doing vetting every couple of hours right now to get people in. We want to try and help them as much as we're helping all the indirect procurement people as well. So I think that's it. I'm going to sign off. It's 6:30, and thank you all for joining. Really appreciate it. Hope that this was a good recap for you for the week. And I'll see you next Sunday at 6 o'clock. All right. All right, everyone. Have a great night. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck on Monday. Please stay safe. And if there's anything that you need from Procurement Foundry and or from the group, please direct message me inside of the community, and I'll be happy to jump on it as quickly as possible. Okay, bye-bye.